More Prophecies on Old and New Church by Moses David, written August 1969, letter number 117A. And men shall look upon her as they look upon my new church, and they shall say, Surely this is not the one, for surely she is not without spot or without blemish, for she hath many imperfections. And I will say unto them, I look not on the outward appearance, but upon the heart. And she loves me with all her heart, even as this one loves thee. Therefore she pleases me greatly, and I will make of her a pure church, and a perfect church, without spot and without blemish, and I will impart unto her my grace, and my beauty, and my holiness, not after the fashion of this world which passeth away, but according to my mercy. For she doeth my will, therefore shall she abide for ever. Even as this one doth forget the vain outward show for thy sake, and doth do those things that are pleasing in thy sight, even that which pleases her not, for she thinks it displeasing to men. But even as she is obedient to thee, even so is my new church obedient unto me, and doeth those things that are pleasing in my sight, even that which is not always pleasing to her, which doth humble her, humiliate her, cause her embarrassment, and to be displeasing in the eyes of men. She pleases me greatly, for she wears the dress that I ordain in the fashion which I command, and does those things that are pleasing unto me, because she loves me with her whole heart, and cares not what man shall say unto her, for her desire is unto her husband, and he doth rule over her. Therefore shall she be crowned with grace and glory, and arrayed in garments white as snow. Therefore shall she be fair above the daughters of women. Therefore a scepter of authority shall be placed in her hand, and therefore shall she rule as queen in the day that I come into my kingdom. For she has stood by my side in the hard time, and in the difficult days, and done those things that were pleasing in my sight. Therefore in that day I will please her, and I will glorify her, and give her great power and authority, and make her arrayed like the sun. For she is my queen, and hath loved me when she was naked and bare. Comment, Mo. The old church loves only herself in her pride. Saul represents the old church, head and shoulders above his brethren. Saul, too, is like the old church, for was he not my anointed, head and shoulders above his brethren, mighty in word and deed, to fight the battles of the Lord, and to lead my people, to preserve my kingdom? And like the old church he began to lean upon the arm of flesh, and his own wisdom, and his own strength, and his own vain glory, and his own armor, and upon his own people, rather than upon me, his God. And he fell, and was defeated and destroyed, for he wist not that the Spirit was departed from him. For he was disobedient, and he was stubborn, and he was willful, and he did those things which were right in his own eyes, rather than the eyes of the Lord. Therefore I have raised up my David, the new church, with a new anointing, and a fresh spirit, and a new attack, and a new approach, and a new guise, out of nowhere, and from nothing, despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And they would have hid their faces from him, and they would have said he was unpleasant in their eyes, and that he had no beauty that they should desire him. For he is but a little lad, in rough attire, and of small stature. What can he do? He hath but a sling and 5 little pebbles. And yet my spirit was upon him, and I did cause him to triumph over Goliath, the giant, where Saul had failed, and my people Israel had failed, and my mighty warriors had failed, and all of their armor had proven to no avail, and against whom their chariots were useless, and against whom their weapons of war prospered not. But little David, with but a single pebble, going forth in the power of my might, and the inspiration of my wisdom, and the strength of my faith, didst conquer the giant, and put them all to shame, and save my kingdom. Even so also with this my new church, out of nowhere, and from nothing, despised in their youth, and their coarse attire, with but a single pebble and a simple sling, and none of the armour or entrappings with which the old church hath surrounded herself, with no mighty fortress but me, no great castles but my living fellowship. Even so shall this little one and these little ones go forth in the power of my Spirit, and the anointing of my oil, and the authority of my appointment, conquering and to conquer the giants of this day, and put Ichabod to shame, and dethrone Vashti, and cut down Jezebel, and strike Michal barren. And she shall be wretched and naked and blind, where she was rich and increased in goods, and thought she had need of nothing. Even as it was with Saul, slain in the defeat of battle, stripped and pinned to the wall. But even as it was with David, this new generation shall possess the kingdom, and the glory of the latter end shall be greater than the former. For he is all glorious in my sight, for his glory is my glory, and not his own. And therefore have I exalted him, when I have taken him out of the sheepcote, and placed him to be head of the nations, even as my new church. Thus saith the Lord. Come with me, therefore, my fair one, and let me be ravished with thy love. For thou art pleasing in my sight, and fairer than the daughters of women, and thy excellency is as the excellency of Hermon. Saw snow-caps with blue sky and clouds, and thy beauty is as the beauty of Esther, and thy pleasing as the pleasing of Abishag. She stood there tall and beautiful, strong, her natural beauty showing through very ragged clothing, as though she had come from poverty and poor family, but smiling, sweet, so willing to try to please the old king. She warmed him and loved him, and lay on him, and ministered to him. For she pleases me. Therefore have I made her my queen. The new church, the children of God.